It's World Water Week, and unprecedented droughts and heat waves have put water scarcity in sharp focus. Worldwide, more than 2 billion people lack access to clean water, and water-scarce regions suffer from acute hunger, poor sanitation, and disease. South Africa is on the front line. 4 years ago, Cape Town feared its water would run out. But now, another city further east is facing that problem. Our correspondent, Adrian Kriesch, reports from Gqeberha, formerly Port Elizabeth in Eastern Cape. It's going through an extreme water shortage.
Not a drop in the tap in Siphokazi Tembani's house for 7 months now. The supply has run dry. The arrival of the water truck brings some relief, but Tembani knows that it also spells hard work. She has to carry the water all the way home for herself and her 4 grandchildren.
We are getting sick because of carrying this water every day. My joints hurt, I have body pains. I have to take painkillers to sleep or go to the clinic. Especially for us elderly people, the situation is painful.
This dam should provide water for her home, but it's almost empty. It's only filled to less than 15% of its capacity. Only 4% is usable water. Rainfall is getting more and more sporadic, and it isn't as heavy as it used to be.
For 7 years, the area here has been in the grip of a historic drought. But while climate change certainly plays a role, mismanagement, decaying infrastructure and a lack of maintenance certainly do too. It is estimated that about 1/3 of the water supply are lost due to leaking pipes.
The scale of the problem is clear to see all over town. Residents report about 200 leaks every day. The city has employed additional staff for repair works. And new wells are being drilled. Groundwater is supposed to help plug the gap that the missing rainwater has left, the head of water distribution for the municipality says. But why didn't all this happen much earlier?
There are quite a number of reasons. Some of them it's financial arrangements. Obviously, from a municipality point of view, we have got competing priorities from a service delivery perspective. And some of these resources, financial resources, were directed to other projects.
A lot of people we talk to actually blame the municipality for the current situation.
At this point in time, my focus is to be able to deliver the metro and push the day zero. And all our efforts, are going towards that.
Day zero, that's the day when all water reserves will be used up, the worst case scenario. To avoid it, each resident is supposed to use no more than 50 liters of water per day, with the municipality threatening to impose strict controls. In the poor neighborhood of Siphokazi Tembani, people feel they have been given empty promises for months. Even the water truck that is a lifeline for so many isn't organized by the municipality. It comes from an aid organization called Gift of the Givers.
I blame the municipality, but also the politicians. When it is time to campaign for votes, you find a lot of them here asking for votes. But when the time comes to deliver services to the people, they are nowhere to be found. When we need water, they are nowhere to be found.
Siphokazi Tembani has given up hope in politics. Her only remaining hope that rain may fall soon, so she will get a break from the hard work of fetching water.
For more, I'm joined now by Lanwang Erlandsson. She's a researcher at the Stockholm Resilience Center, where she studies the role of water for the world's ecosystems. Thanks for being with us. Now, humans need water, as do all living things. Do you think it's possible, though, for us to continue using all the water we need in a sustainable way without wrecking the planet?
Yes, I think the question, I would turn it around. I think we tend to think of water as the water we use for drinking and washing, but human needs water beyond that. We need water cycle to keep our agriculture going. We need the water to stay in the same way so that our infrastructure design can keep that way, and we also need the land system to continue to absorb carbon and not release it. So all these needs must be balanced. We know ways to use water without degrading or polluting it, and we have the means to stop destabilizing water cycle through climate change and deforestation. So I would say that we are not competitors with the planet. We live in symbiosis, and our fate is so tied to the planet that we simply cannot fulfill our needs if we wreck the planet. So it goes hand in hand.
You warned, though, that human interference in the water cycle, like we're seeing now, could result in the biosphere losing its resilience. What does that mean exactly?
Yes. So, for example, we see that in the Amazon that is becoming increasingly drier. So the trees that are dying and drying are very bad at generating rainfall and capturing carbon emissions. So they are, so to speak, stop absorbing carbon and instead emitting within the next 2 decades. And this is happening faster than we probably saw. So this is a very good example of a biosphere losing its resilience. In less academic language, we could perhaps say that ecosystems that lose their resilience are similar to people that have a worsening health, so that become more vulnerable to perturbations such as a bad drought or bad flu in the human case, and less capable to recover after such an event.
Okay, so the water cycle is absolutely essential to maintain. Do you see sufficient action, though, being taken by humans to sustain the water cycle as we know it?
Short answer, unfortunately not. We are still heading towards a 3 degrees warmer world, which will wreck the Earth's water cycle, for example. So we need to clearly do much more to phase out the greenhouse gas emissions, prevent deforestation, and protect our ecosystem that help maintain the water cycle and serve us well in many ways.
So what would you recommend right now that the world needs to do most urgently to address this problem?
Yes, there are not one thing, but we need to act on all those human pressures quite quickly, both in climate change and ecosystem protection and our management in agriculture. We want to move fast so that we don't trigger the kind of self-amplifying feedback that we see in the Amazon, for example, the one I mentioned. So we want the forest to continue to help absorb carbon rather than releasing it, so that they continue to be our friends rather than our foe. That would be devastating.
Okay, thank you so much. That was Lanwang Erlandsson, a researcher at the Stockholm Resilience Centre.
Thank you.
While some parts of the world struggle with a severe lack of water, other regions face the devastating effects of too much water brought on by extreme downpours. In the United States, heavy rain and flash flooding have been causing chaos in parts of the South and Southwest, with hundreds of people forced to evacuate. The state of Texas has been particularly hard hit with record-breaking rainfall in Dallas.
From a historic drought to flash floods, the United States Southwest is seeing a dramatic shift in extreme weather. Here in Utah, muddy water inundated streets and shops, while in New Mexico, national parks were evacuated. Texas saw some of the heaviest rain, flooding downtown Dallas. Firefighters battled the raging water to rescue trapped residents.
I got a hold of them and they come and rescued me. It took them about half hour to figure out how to do it. It was the current's so strong going past my house, it'll wash you away.
Parts of the US have been in a prolonged drought, but sudden downpours don't help. The water runs off the hard, dry ground, often making flooding even more severe. Climate change is making these extreme weather events more frequent, and the US government response to recent natural disasters has been repeatedly criticised as inadequate. Already inundated, the southwest states are bracing for more rain later this week.